I thought that a video talking about my strengths and weaknesses as a homeschooling mom and teacher could be kind of an interesting video. And as I thought about this video, I realized I hadn't really thought of this much before. Hey guys, welcome and thanks for joining me today. If you are new to my channel, I am a young homeschooling mom of three. I have a first grader, a kindergartner, and a toddler, and I'm also a second generation homeschooler. And channel is my outlet for everything homeschool. So if you enjoyed this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, so strengths and weaknesses of a homeschool mom, we all have them. Well, at least I assume we all have them. I definitely have both. And I think it's good to focus on both. I think it's good to see our weaknesses for what they are so that we can deal with them and to know your weaknesses so that you can be aware of them and look at how to address them, right? If we never think about our weaknesses and actually analyze what's causing trouble or what our downsides are in homeschooling, then we can never address them. But I think on the other side, it's also really good to recognize your strengths, to give yourself credit for the things that you do well and know your strengths so that you can really dig into them. So, yeah, what are mine? That's a good question. I hadn't really thought a lot about this prior to this. So now I'm going to be thinking about it with you, and I will probably be continuing to think about it afterwards. One thing that I've thought, and I've thought this for a long time, not just in regard to homeschool, but in regard to life in general, is that I think our strengths and our weaknesses often are the very same thing. The desire to be to places on time for me in life, right? I really want to make places on time early if possible, can become a weakness that creates stress between me and my family when I'm like, let's get out the door. And I just have no patience for my kids, right? Um, so I think in homeschooling, there's some of those same things. I think there's a lot of things that I'm strong in, but that create weaknesses as a result. Some of the weaknesses, I'm not sure I see always how those can be strengths, but you can't have it all. So, for example, I love organizing. I love scheduling. I love planning the year next year a year in advance, right? I love having things neat and tidy and how they should be. But that can lead to a weakness of being too rigid. Like I have things organized just so and it's got to stay just so. I have things planned and why I don't want to change my plans, right? I think that strength and weakness kind of come side by side, right? It's great to be able to organize, to be able to schedule, to be able to plan, but she can't hold on too tightly to that plan. So I would say that would be one area that I could have kind of that teeter-totter of strength and weakness. Um, Another one is I take academics very seriously. I want to be very intentional with teaching my children, making sure they get really good educations. Not just home learning, but I want them to be well taught, well educated individuals. And I take that as a very serious responsibility. But while I see that as a strength, I also see there could be a little bit of downfall in that um, I can be so focused on making sure we're learning what we need to learn that I can miss out on some of the moments that we could just take to pause and enjoy each other, to pause and enjoy our homeschool, to pause and enjoy our relationship, right? Some of those more relational, enjoyable moments I can miss because I'm so focused on getting our academics done well. So while I think that's a really good goal and I need to hold tightly to it, I also need to have my eyes open for am I passing over things that that God would have me embrace in the moment with my children just as a mom, as this is time we're spending together and I'm missing out on something potentially. Okay. Another one, along with that whole like planning, right? I like to plan in advance, and that's great. And I like to think in advance so that I can get deals, right? If I know a year or two in advance what I'm going to use in a year or two, I can find great deals. And I think thrifting and being budget conscious is great. That's a strength. But the downfall for me is then I plan in advance and I buy these great deals, and then I change my plans and I don't use the curriculum. And I have been guilty of that many times. In fact, in my spreadsheet where I chart of what the year costs, because I like to know what we're spending for the year, I have now a column for things I bought that we didn't use to add that into the cost of the year because it actually is the cost of the year. And what if I resell it, I mark that as well, mark what I resell so that I can see what the total is, what we actually spent, and then what we resold. But if I bought something and we didn't use it, I have a spot for that as well. Because that is a weakness in planning in advance, in thrifting and budgeting and trying to find good deals because you can't really find good deals last minute. You have to do that in advance. Is that I end up buying things we don't use because I change plans. So again, strengths and weakness, they kind of go against each other. I would say it's a strength that I'm committed to our homeschool, that it is something that I am 100% into. I'm committed to doing whatever it takes. Like this is where I'm at. This is where I'm going to dig in as a mom, as a teacher. This is my life for the next 12, 15 years, right? And I'm committed to that. And the downside of that would be pride, right? Would be well, look at me. I'm a homeschool mom and I'm committed, not like that person who's only doing it halfway, right? Like, and while I try not to go down that road. I try to give people grace when I differ from them or when I see somebody doing it differently than I would. Um, it can lead to that, and I have to be careful of that in my own mind. So I do try to be aware of that. Um, okay. A strength that I think I have is research. I love research. I love to see what's out there. I love to dig in and really understand what things are and what pieces are and what can be used for this and what can be used for this. I love to mix and match and do my own curriculums. So I guess I'm eclectic in that way. But there is a downside to that too, in that I get FOMO because I see all these cool things that I've researched and I want them. So, yeah, I know I'm not the only one who struggles with that, but, that's a real balance in that I have to be careful not to research and just want because I want. Like, it has to have a place in our homeschool for me to pursue it or to put it on the back burner. I do have tons of tabs in my browser, my computer for things that interest me. And down the road, as I'm picking curriculum for higher grades or another year, I can revisit that and go, is this really fitting in now versus like, oh, I want that now. Being able to mark that and not forget about it and not miss it. That's kind of been a nice balance for me being like, okay, I like this. Let's save it. I'll revisit this. Um, but yeah, it can be a stumbling block in that I like love the research, but then I want what I research, right? Okay, I feel like I'm confident in homeschooling. And when I say it as a strength, yes, it's great to feel comfortable where you are and feel like you know what you're doing, right? I was homeschooled, so it's not a foreign world to me. And that's good. But it can also lead me to feeling like I know more than I do, right? I have only been homeschooling for like 3.5 years. It's not like I've been teaching this forever. And so I can be more confident than I should be, right? Which might include not listening to other people's views when they disagree with my own because I feel like I know what I'm talking about. So I have to beware and guard against that. Um, intentionality, right? I think that's a strength that I have. I'm very intentional about what we do and what we get to, but I get frustrated when things aren't as planned. So that's a weakness that counterbalances that. And then another weakness that I am super aware that I have, and I really haven't found the pro to. So if you know what the like strength that might be linked to this is, I would love for you to comment below and tell me because I am just an impatient person as a homeschool mom sometimes. I have realized as a mom, and again as a homeschooler, a homeschool mom, a homeschool teacher, I am not as patient as I thought I was. I can get frustrated more easily than I realize. Um, and so that is a weakness that I am keenly aware of, and I really, really am trying to guard against. I'm really trying to surrender that to God, to see my homeschool through His eyes, recognizing that it's not me who's making our homeschool happen or who is going to make my kids what they are eventually going to be. I mean, that is in His hands. He is using me, but this is not my thing. This is His. So there you have it. Those are some thoughts I jotted down. You might have seen me looking. I did have a little list of things that I jotted down to think about, and so we kind of talked through those. I'm sure there's a whole lot more in there, and I feel like I need to think about it more because, like I said, I think it is valuable to know where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. I think both are good. Once you can delve in, and so you can not beat yourself up. Like if you know you have strengths as a homeschool mom, like embrace those and recognize those and be like, awesome, I didn't know I was good at that. But when we have weaknesses, it's also really important to look at those and go, okay, yeah, I need to be aware of that. Yeah, I need to guard against that. Yeah, I need to maybe bring somebody else in, right? Like I need to tell my husband that this is something I'm struggling with. I need to get his input on how I can deal with this. And I did ask him uh, before this video, I kind of wanted to know his thoughts if he thought of any strengths and weaknesses of mine. He didn't give me a ton of feedback. To be fair, he's not here a lot when I homeschool. Um, he said no, not on the weaknesses, which was really generous of him. He sees me through rose-colored glasses, and I'm so thankful for that. What did he say he thought my strengths were? He thought research and really learning about what's out there was one of my strengths, which I agree with. And then he said, what did he say? He said, you're not afraid to break things down all the way in order to teach our kids something. And I really appreciate that. I don't know that I see myself like that, but yeah, I am willing to break things down and to teach them on a small level in order to get to the big level. Um, but like I said, I think he sees me much kinder than I may see myself. And that may be true for a lot of us. I think a lot of us see our weaknesses far more easily than we see our strengths. Uh, because our weaknesses kind of get in our face sometimes. Or maybe not even see our weaknesses. I don't know that we analyze it down to like what is the weakness, but we see our failings. We feel like we're failing and we never go to the trouble of analyzing what is causing us to feel that way. So that's my spiel for you all. I would love if you guys wanted to comment below and share some of what you feel like your strength and weakness balances would be, the things that you feel like you do really well at, but then the struggles that that might cause. For not just for me, but all the other homeschool moms watching this, it's good to be able to share and relate and bounce ideas off other people and feel like we're not the only ones who either have these strengths or these weaknesses. So please comment below and share that with us. And yeah, any thoughts you have for me, share those as well. I look forward to making another video for you guys again soon.